So the thought of reading in this new year is definitely something that is kind of like stressing me out. Like I'm like, it's the beginning of a new year. I'm on BookTube. There are reviews I want to get out. I have so many arcs that I need to read that I'm like, I'm not used to getting arcs at all. I'm always used to reading books way after they come out. I've been seeing all the different new releases that are coming out, and I'm just like, I just want to read them all. So I came up with a book list for 2021. It's called Black and Queer Book List for 2021. I did this back in 2017 with a Black and Queer Book List of the Year. It was a mix of new releases over the couple recent years, some classics on there by Black queer authors like Baldwin and Audre Lorde. And so that was really well received. A lot of my favorite authors really boosted it on Twitter, like Darnell Moore. It was a great time. And so I definitely wanted to do that again, but with just all new releases. But the reason that I really created this was sort of as a personal challenge for myself to really read and include more Black queer books in my reading. I hope that in this video you find something that piques your interest. Make sure that you support Black queer authors by pre-ordering their books and purchasing them when they come out. The first YA book that I'm super excited about coming out this year is called Off the Record, and it is by Camryn Garrett, and it comes out on May 18th. The Goodreads blurb reads, "Ever since 17-year-old Josie Wright can remember, writing has been her identity, the thing that grounds her when everything else is a garbage fire. So when she wins a contest to write a celebrity profile for Deep Focus magazine, she's equal parts excited and scared, but also ready. She's got this." Soon, Josie is setting off on a multi-city tour, rubbing elbows with sparkly celebrities, frenetic handlers, stone-faced producers, and eccentric stylists. She even finds herself catching feelings for the subject of her profile, dazzling young newcomer Marius Cannett. Josie's world is expanding so rapidly she doesn't know whether she's flying or falling. But when a young actress lets her in on a terrible secret, the answer is clear. She's in over her head. One woman's account leads to another and another. Josie wants to expose the man responsible, but she's reluctant to speak up, unsure if this is her story to tell. What if she lets down the women who have entrusted her with their stories? What if this ends her writing career before it even begins? There are so many reasons not to go ahead, but if Josie doesn't step up, who will? And this sounds super interesting, and the cover is gorgeous. Got a young woman, a young queer woman who is a writer and is doing like news reporting. So this sounds like a good sort of like mystery, maybe possible thriller. I'm not sure. And then the next one that I'm super excited about is Ace of Spades, okay? Ace of Spades comes out June 10th, and I'm sure you have probably heard so many things about this novel because everybody has been raving over the cover, and then the plot just sounds even better. So an incendiary and utterly compelling thriller with a shocking twist that delves deep into the heart of institutionalized racism from an exceptional new YA voice. Welcome to Nivea's private academy, where money paves the hallways and the students are never less than perfect until now. Because anonymous texter Aces is bringing two students' dark secrets to light. Talented musician Devon buries himself in rehearsals, but he can't escape the spotlight when his private photos go public. Head girl Shiamaka isn't afraid to get what she wants, but soon everyone will know the price she has paid for power. Someone is out to get them both, someone who holds all the aces, and they're planning much more than a high school game. So this is a YA thriller, and I'm super excited for this because it sounds super cool. The concept is great and the cover is gorgeous. And I think that this, hopefully it becomes a series, because I think that this would be something really good for like young Black children and young Black teens to be able to read. I'm super excited about this one. Another book that I'm super excited about comes out July 13th, and that is The Taking of Jake Livingston. I have read one other Ryan Douglas novel, and you know, like I thought it was a very interesting story. He always gives a lot of queer representation in his stories. And so Jake Livingston is one of the only only black kids at St. Clair Prep, one of the others being his infinitely more popular older brother. It's hard enough fitting in, but to make matters worse and definitely more complicated, Jake can see the dead. In fact, he sees the dead around all the time. Most are harmless, stuck in their death loops as they relive their deaths over and over again. They don't interact often with people, but then Jake meets Sawyer, a troubled teen who shot and killed 16 kids at a local high school last year before taking his own life. Now a powerful, vengeful ghost, he has plans for his afterlife, plans that include Jake. Suddenly, everything Jake knows about ghosts and about rules to life itself go out of the window as Sawyer begins haunting him and bodies turn up in his neighborhood. High school soon becomes a survival game, one Jake is not sure he's going to win. So this comes out July 13th. It's another thriller that I'm super excited about. It's an interesting story, but with a black queer kid at the center, and I'm really interested in seeing what Ryan Douglas does with this story. And then the last YA novel that I am really excited about is A Crown So Cursed by L.L. McKinney. This is the third book in L.L. McKinney's Nightmare Verse trilogy, which I actually have never read, but I've heard so many things about L.L. McKinney. So I think that I'm definitely going to have to check out that series. And I mean, I have plenty of time. The book comes out November 9th. But it's all about Alice, who gets one last chance to save Wonderland from herself. Alice and the gang are trying to recover from recent events, but members of her crew start having weird dreams. The same dreams. It seems the evil in Wonderland may not be as defeated as they thought because someone's building an army of nightmares to attack the mortal world. But before Alice jumps into battle, she discovers she has a personal connection to Wonderland, and she must face what it means for the fight ahead. So I'm going to dive into that series very soon. I'll put some of the books on hold. I need to put some of the books on hold at the library, and I'll get those. And then by the time November 9th comes, I'm going to be ready. Now for the adult fiction and nonfiction releases in 2021. The first one that I'm super excited about is The Prophets by Robert Jones Jr. I have both my ARC and my official copy of this book right behind me. I was planning on recording this video and getting it out right at the beginning of 2021, but that didn't really happen, and this book came out January 5th. So I quickly purchased a copy from my local independent bookstore, and I had already gotten an ARC and read the ARC of The Prophets. It's so good. So I'm going to do a full review of that with all of the details and really dive into to what the story is about, and like, it deserves a solid analysis. So the Goodreads inscription reads, Isaiah was Samuel's and Samuel was Isaiah's. That was the way it was since the beginning and the way it was to be until the end. In the barn, they tended to the animals, but also to each other, transforming the hollowed out shed into a place of human refuge, a source of intimacy and hope in a world ruled by vicious masters. But when an older man, a fellow slave, seeks to gain favor by preaching the master's gospel on the plantation, the enslaved begin to turn on their own. Isaiah and Samuel's love, which was once so simple, is seen as sinful and a clear danger to the plantation's harmony. With a lyricism reminiscent of Toni Morrison, Robert Jones fiercely summons the voices of slaver and the enslaved alike to tell the story of these two men. From Amos the preacher to the calculating slave master himself, to the long line of women that surround them, women who have carried the soul of the plantations on their shoulders. As tensions build and the weight of centuries, of ancestors and future generations culminate in a climactic reckoning, The Prophets masterfully reveals the pain and suffering of inheritance, but is also shot through with hope, beauty, and truth, portraying the enormous heroic power of love. And I think that description, it really sums it up. It really sums it up. And I think that everybody needs to read this. I know that it is going to really make an impact. It's really going to make an impact. And I think that Robert Jones Jr. is doing such amazing work. Go out and purchase this book. It's out now. It came out on January 5th. I'll include the link to purchase this and the link to purchase all of these and their pre-order links in the description box below. The next book is actually the screenplay to a musical, and that is A Strange Loop by Michael R. Jackson, and that comes out January 19th. So I had actually heard Michael R. Jackson being interviewed on Darnell Moore's podcast. The way that he spoke really got to me. And so Usher is a Black queer writer working a day-to-day job he hates while writing his own musical. A piece about a Black queer writer working a day job he hates while writing his original musical. Michael R. Jackson's blistering, momentous new musical follows a young artist at war with a host of demons, not least of which the punishing thoughts in his own head, in an attempt to capture and understand his own strange loop. And so I have read screenplays before and of musicals. I read Choir Boy by Terrell Allen McKinney at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of 2020. And it was such an enjoyable read. Reading a musical is very interesting. And so I think that the soundtrack to A Strange Loop actually is out. So you can listen to that. So I'm going to pick this up and read it, and then I'll definitely do a review of it. The next book is Yesterday is History by Kosoko Jackson, and this comes out February 2nd. The Goodreads description reads, weeks ago, Andre Cobb received a much-needed liver transplant. He's ready for his life to finally begin until one night when he passes out and wakes up somewhere totally unexpected in 1969, where he connects with a magnetic boy named Michael. And then, just as suddenly as he arrives, he slips back to present-day Boston, where the family of his donor is waiting to explain that his new liver came with a side effect, the ability to time travel. And they've tasked their youngest son, Blake, with teaching Andre how to use his unexpected new gift. Andre splits his time bouncing between the past and future, between Michael and Blake. Michael is everything Andre wishes he could be, and Blake, still reeling from the death of his brother, Andre's donor, keeps him at an arm's length despite their obvious attraction to each other. Torn between two boys, one in the past and one in the present, Andre has to figure out where he belongs, and more importantly, who he wants to be, before the consequences of jumping in time catch up to him and change his future for good. This seems like super cool, very interesting concept, time travel, nice. I'm really interested in seeing this and seeing a good romance. And I think that this is going to be a good one. And this one comes out February 2nd. Yesterday is History by Kosoko Jackson. Next one also comes out February 2nd. It is 100 Boyfriends by Brontez Purnell. If you have not watched my review of Since I Laid My Burden Down by Brontez Purnell, definitely go check that out. But this new book comes out February 2nd, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Goodreads description read, transgressive, foul-mouthed, and devastatingly funny, Brontez Purnell's 100 Boyfriends is a revelatory spiral in the imperfect lives of queer men, desperately fighting and often losing the urge to self-sabotage. His characters solicit sex on their lunch breaks, expose themselves to racist neighbors, sleep with their co-workers' husbands, rub Preparation H on their hungover eyes, and, in an uproarious epilogue, take a punk band on a disastrous tour of Europe. They also travel to claim inheritance, push past personal trauma, and cultivate community while living in the margins of a white supremacist society. I mean, what can I really say? Definitely go check that one out, February 2nd. The next book is a memoir, and this is by Hari Zayed, and it comes out March 1st, and it is called Black Boy Out of Time. I absolutely love this cover, too. The Goodreads description reads, one of 19 children in a blended family, Hari Zayed was raised by a Hindu Krishna mother and a Muslim father. Through reframing their own coming-of-age story, Zayed takes readers on a powerful journey of growing up queer and Black in, shout out to Cleveland, Ohio, and of navigating the equally complex path towards finding their true self in New York, exploring childhood, gender, race, and the trust that is built, broken, and repaired through generations. Zayad investigates what it means to live beyond the limited narratives Black children are given and challenges irreconcilable binaries that restrict them. Oh, this is something new. This is definitely a new perspective that I've never read from. Having a Hindu mother and a Muslim father and being Black and queer. So I'm super excited to read that and learn some new things. Learned Reactions by Jace Ellis comes out March 9th. And this is a romance. This is a romance. First of all, I love this cover. It's so cute. I can't wait to read this one. I know this is gonna be like a curl up on the couch, glass of wine type of book, and so it seems super cute. Carlton Monroe is finally getting his groove back. After a year playing dad to his nephew and sending him safely off to college, it's back to his bachelor ways. But when his teenage niece shows up on his doorstep looking for a permanent home, his plan comes to a screeching halt. Family is everything, and in the eyes of social services, a couple makes a better adoptive family than an overworked bachelor father. A fake relationship with his closest friend is the best way to keep his family together. If things between him and Dion are complicated, well, it only needs to last until the end of the semester. Living with Carlton is a heartbreak waiting to happen, and once the adoption goes through, Dion's out. He's waited 2 decades for Carlton to realize they're meant for each other, and he's done. It's time to make a clean break. But it's hard to think of moving away when keeping up the act includes some very real perks like kissing, cuddling, and sharing a bed. Even the best charades must come to an end, though. As the holidays and Dion's departure date loom, the two men must decide whether playing house is enough for them or if there's any chance they could be a family for real. Y'all, this is like a friend. Is this a friends to lovers sort of thing? That's how tropes work, right? Y'all, I'm not an expert in trope land of romance landia, but this seems super cute. And so I'm excited to read it, and I just might have to get a couple of copies and read it maybe in a book club. So if anybody is interested in reading this book, just something nice, chill, to get over the mess that 2021 has already brought, let me know. The next one is a poetry collection. It is Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine Mars, which comes out March 9th. From spoken word poet Jasmine Mars comes an unforgettable poetry collection about race, feminism, and queer identity. With the echoes of Gwendolyn Brooks and Sonia Sanchez, man's rights to call herself and us home. Each poem explores what it means to be a daughter of Newark and America and the painful, joyous path to adulthood as a young, queer, Black woman. I'm always down for a good poetry collection. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. And y'all, the book cover. The barrettes. I feel like I instinctively remember, stepping on many a barrette whenever I would go visit my cousin when I was a child. So this is giving me like low-key PTSD vibes, but I love it. It's such a great cover. How to Find a Princess by Alyssa Cole comes out May 25th, and it's about a little bit of heartbreak. It seems to be a little bit of a romance. There are a lot of names in here, and cities and places in this description that I don't want to mess up, but definitely go check out the description. I have it on my website, and this book cover is cute. Filthy Animals by Brandon Taylor comes out June 2nd, and I'm excited about that one because I read Real Life by Brandon Taylor. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I have to admit Brandon Taylor is a good writer. The story was just, it left much to be desired. Roxanne Gay loves Brandon Taylor, so maybe it'll just take a couple of novels for me to really get into his writing. But this comes out June 22nd, and its description is a little blurb read. In the series of linked stories at the heart of Filthy Animals, set among young creatives in the American Midwest, a young man treads delicate emotional waters as he navigates a series of sexually fraught encounters with 2 dancers in an open relationship, forcing him to weigh his vulnerabilities against his loneliness. In other stories, a young woman battles with cancers, draining her body and her family. Menacing undercurrents among a group of teenagers explode in violence on a winter night. A little girl tears through a house like a tornado, driving her babysitter to the brink. And couples feel out the jagged edges of connection, comfort, and cruelty. So this sounds like really cool. It seems a little bit more upbeat. I think that Real Life, there was just something about that main character that irked me. And so I think that maybe getting more than one story would be better. And these seem like interesting backstories already, so I'm excited. Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson comes out July 6th, and it seems like a very cute romance. I'm gonna just read the first little part of this. 3 days, 2 girls, 1 life-changing music festival. And I think that's all I gotta say. There's love, there's music, it's 2 black girls at a music festival. What more do you want? What more do you want? And then last but not least, I appreciate Frederick Smith. I really appreciate Frederick Smith. Frederick Smith has been a great supporter. Frederick Smith is a writer, and I have read another one of Frederick Smith's novels, which I got on Kindle, and I'll post a picture of it up here. Definitely go check out Frederick Smith's work. I think that he has 3 novels, and so this one is a collaborative project with Chaz Lamar Cruz called Busy Ain't the Half of It. It comes out August 2021. 2 newly single black, queer, and socially aware men have packed up to start again in love, career, and life in the West Hollywood neighborhood of LA. Zaire James, on the cusp of 30, has decided marriage isn't all it's cracked up to be. Despite friends, family, and coworkers loving Zaire's perfect partner, divorce is a necessary step for finding himself and being free. If only it were that easy. Kenny Kane has made a career of deferring dreams, lowering expectations, and chasing partners not on his level in hopes of finding a love to call his own. However, on the verge of the big 4-0, he realizes the clock is ticking on all his dreams. As Zaire and Kenny undo the significant relationships of their past, they hope new opportunities, energy, mindsets, and connections will reinvigorate what is missing in their lives, drama and all. Y'all know I love some drama, so I'm super excited about this one. It comes out in August 2021. Keep watching on my Twitter, and I'll link you to Frederick Smith's Twitter. So when the date comes out, you'll know. Oh, I'm super excited about all these black queer novels coming out in 2021. The novels, the poetry collections, the YA books. It's going to be a great year for black queer literature, and we need it. We deserve it. So hope that you found something in this video that you're interested in, that you want to check out, that you want to learn more about, and definitely just like, comment, subscribe, and check out some of these books and read with me. Let me know if you're interested in reading some of these books together, because I am always open for, book clubs, collaborative work, all that type of stuff, okay? I will see all of you in the next video, and always remember that you are loved.